Yep. Good evening, everyone. A hearty welcome back to the third session of Conference 1.1 on evolving role of women entrepreneurs in the global economic group. Today, we hence return again to discuss multiple prospects of the topic, following the conversations we have had with our speakers in the previous sessions of the conference. Now, I would like to request all my fellow speakers as well as all the attendees to switch on your webcams and stay on your webcams throughout the conference. Am I audible, Vijay? Thanks. Digvijay will start in 5 minutes from now once all the speakers join. Thanks. Now I would like to introduce all the speakers one by one for today's conference on evolving role of women entrepreneurs in the global economic growth. Firstly, I would like to introduce Ms. Shelja Akkala, founder and CEO of Infinity Solutions, who is a renowned training consultant with approximately 15 years of work experience. She has shouldered responsibilities from various industries, from business management to human resources to investment banking, and she brings in a wealth of corporate experience which renovates her skills to impact and connect with the audiences. Additionally, she has also established her expertise in communication skills, soft skills, and alongside her behavioral skills, working with various industries in various sectors, in various gamuts, and is here to deliver her speech on the topic of women entrepreneurship. Next, we have CS Rupanjanade, who is a fellow speaker of ICSI, a lawyer by qualification. She began her career in 2001 and works across multiple groups, including listed company, and also has been the independent director of multiple listed companies. As a company secretary, she decided to promote her own group of companies. That's how the diversified Enwood group, earlier promoted by her, are into the business of renewable energy, manufacturing and consultancy, energy audit, corporate training, creative graphic designing, apparels, tourism, and publication of books and magazines. Today, Ms. Day is a practicing company secretary and has the exposure to diverse fields of industry, starting from beverages and crossing multiple industries over here. Next, we have Mr. Ati Priya, who is having progressive experience in managing and leading various aspects of business planning, expertise, competitive innovatives, institutionalizing a strong performance-driven culture at all industry levels. He is a PhD scholar, MBA in IB, MCOM, PGD IPR, PGD IBO, and multiple degrees from University of Virginia. He is a certified Lean Six Sigma belt professional who is having multiple years of experience in the industry. He has extensively worked in all facets of management with specialization in the fields of leadership development, organizational behavior, culture building, and employee engagement. He is also the advisor to multiple vice chancellors of universities across India. Next, we have one of the pioneer IFRS trainers in India, C. Rachna Jaggi, who is also the co-founder of RJTC LLP. She has a rich over 24 years of post-qualification experience in auditing, accounting, corporate consulting, and training. She's also a CA, CPA from US and also holds diploma in IFRS, ACCA UK. She has a great knowledge of IGAP, IFRS, US GAAP, and financial reporting norms across various countries. Next, we have Advocate Janvi Sharma, who is a third generation lawyer and advocate practicing at the Supreme Court of India. She specializes in intellectual property rights law, constitutional law, international relations, and mediation. She is a mediator and was recently awarded the E-Mediation Writing Generation Next Appreciation Award at the International Conference for Weaving Harmony Through Mediation. With a background into law and political science honors from Hindu College, Delhi University, she is also an avid reader who writes poetry occasionally. She is the co-founder of The Virtual Lawyer, an Instagram handle which is an initiative to enhance virtual legal education through virtual sessions. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Jha, Avdesh Jha, who has done his PG diploma in journalism and mass communication and has completed his MBA in finance and postgraduate diploma from BHU. He is also advisor to multiple MSME firms and was awarded a PhD honorary. He is the co-founder and executive director of EdMax Technology Private Limited and the co-founder and trustee of Jyotirmaya Trust from Florida, USA. He is also the founder and editor-in-chief of Hind Chakra Media and a co-author of Importance of Yoga for a Person with Disabilities. Now, I would like to again request all the attendees to kindly switch on your webcams for the conference and do fill the certificate form at the end of the conference. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Shailja Akkala, founder and CEO of Infinity Solutions, to commence her speech. Ms. Shailja Akkala, are you there in the meeting yet? Until Ms. Shailja comes, I would like to invite CS Rupanjana De from Calcutta chapter of EIRC of ICSI to commence her speech.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. So, basically, I just want to clarify first. I am a company secretary based in Calcutta, but when you write Kolkata chapter, it rather means that I am one of the office bearers there. I was the ex-secretary, but at present, I am not in the council. So, with that disclaimer, I start. And since you mentioned, Mr. Shravan, that the first speaker will be talking about women empowerment in entrepreneurship, I had thought that I'll be talking about women women empowerment in the corporate world. So I think I would like to club the two for a better experience of the audience. So I have I want to start with a premise that when there are two genders, only two genders, men and women, and traditionally and of course biologically, women are the women is the gender that gives birth and which gives birth to civilizations and nurtures the family and all. So it often happens, it has historically happened, it is happening till today, that women are generally naturally they are the mothers, they are the caregivers, they spend a lot of time taking care of the family. So even if that woman is a career woman, we all know, like, we still do it, we don't give up that responsibility of looking after the family even after we have joined careers. So that is there, we balance different jobs, we are multitasking people, we balance different jobs. But while doing so, somehow we compromise, in the sense that we may compromise on our paycheck, we may compromise on the amount of care and that we need to take about ourselves in giving care to others. We put ourselves at the last. So this sometimes adversely affects the women, be it in career, be it health wise, be it in the family. So this has to some extent resulted in the situation that we have today, where we need to think about or talk about women empowerment. Because when civilization began, there were two genders, men and women, and I believe the two genders have been created equally. Not one gender is at a disadvantageous position, but if there is one gender which is at an advantageous position, that in fact is the women, because we can give birth and we can create generations. So because of ages of not taking care of ourselves, not giving us the priority, and not thinking about ourselves, and not being ambitious, so because of that, maybe we are lagging somewhere. Now, if you see about the population, we have 50% men and 50% women, roughly. So, if all women were coming out of their homes, working, whether or not working, maybe for leisure also they were coming. So, ideally, the streets would not be unsafe for women, because if there were as many women as there were men. Same goes with offices. The offices would be as congenial a place for a woman to work as it is for men. So we have taken ourselves back because of the duties that we have give to the society, to the family. Now, so said, so that is the premise with which I wanted to start. Now, my personal, upbringing, I have a very unique upbringing. I'm going to share that. So, from my upbringing, I have realized that if the concept of gender inequality is not, sowed in the minds of people from a very nascent age, this does not become an issue when you grow up. Now, I give my personal experience in that. I was born and raised in two states of India, both of which have matriarchal societies. Now, one is Mizoram, the other is Meghalaya. So there, the women is the head of the family. The men take the surnames of the women. The women take all the decisions, all the hard work the women do. So they are the bosses in the family, in the society. So growing up in those states, in a household, my father was living in a different state in a house. So my father was absent in the family normally. So it was my mother, me, my sister, and my grandmother. So it was four women in the house. And my mother was a principal of a high school for women. So we were surrounded by women from all sides. And so naturally, the discussion in the house or in my mother's workplace, it never featured anything like this, that this is for boys, this is for girls, and women should not do this, women should do that. So this kind of things were never discussed. And I grew up very confident, very independent. I used to go to play badminton in the tournament at 2 a.m. at night. I never thought, nobody in my family ever thought that, she's not safe, she's going at this hour at night. So and nobody sowed that seed in my mind. So what happened today, for example, like I as a professional, okay, I practice company law, but I have studies abroad. I've studied in the Europe, and during my study in Europe days, I developed this love for travel. So even today I travel, and I love to travel alone. So I've traveled to 40 countries alone, almost alone, most of the time. So even today, because in my growing up years, I was never given this impression that this is not safe, this should not be done, and all these etc etc. So even today I don't have that, and that is how I'm trying to bring up my daughter also. Growing up, if she also does not get to know there are limitations, which are man-made limitations, of course. So then she will also be an independent woman, and then maybe in future she will live in a world which does not talk of women empowerment, because women empowerment will be the rule of order of the day. I mean, that will not be. We are talking because to some extent that is absent. If that was not absent, then we would not be talking. So this is what I have felt is a responsibility of families, a responsibility of parents, of society, while bringing up a child, be it a boy or a girl. If the treatment is equal and these wrong seeds are never sown, then there will not be, much of the problems will vanish. So now, so said, as I deal in the corporate world, I have seen that, because less women are working in general, especially in the highest level, because I deal with the management and the board level. So in that highest level, and also of course lower down the production level, in both sides, generally there are less women. So uh, I talk about a little technical thing, which is Companies Act 2013, which deals with the company law in India. That has introduced this provision of women directors compulsorily for every listed company and every unlisted company which is having a certain amount of turnover. So this has been introduced to remove to bring about gender diversity in the board. So before that, many companies, that highest level of the corporate world, were averse to the thought that there should be women. There was kind of a glass ceiling, or there was an unseen barricade where many companies would think, okay, I mean, this what is a woman going to do? But that is the wrong kind of thinking. We also know about so many women entrepreneurs, and the biggest, the CEOs of companies being women. So they have proved their mettle. So that is a wrong thinking, but that was there. That was there by introduction of this provision. Now companies are bringing in more and more women into the board, but that has also remained restricted to the statutory minimum level. So if there is a board of 8 people, there is maybe just one or a maximum of 2 women. So that 2 is also very difficult to find. So normally there is only 1 woman. So I sit on the board of 11 companies, in which I am in most of the boards. I am the only one. So there may be 7 or 8 other male board members. So although this law has been introduced to have the corporate world, gender diversity in the corporate world, we need to follow this kind of laws in spirit and not just in law. And another similar, I would end with another initiative of law that has been introduced for checking abuse of women and all that, to make workplace a more safer place for women, is the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, which has also been introduced. That is also a law in the right direction, but that is also in a very nascent stage. A lot of new things have to be introduced there. It has to be made available to people from the LGBT community also, and of course it has also been made available to men, because men are also sometimes victims of abuse. So that is another thing. So that is why I say that law is very nascent stage. Although it is giving the protection to women at the moment, its ambit has to be increased. And as for Companies Act, it has to be followed in spirit and not just as a compulsion. So when these kind of things are ironed out, even the corporate world will be a much better place for women, and more women will be visible. So a lot depends on us also. We, the empowered women, we have to come out and lead by examples. That's what I would like to say, so that others can follow suit. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. If there is any question later on, I would love to answer. Thank you.
That was quite an informative speech, Sanjana. I just had 2-3 questions here. What is the percentage, as you mentioned, that is compulsory for every company's board to be maintained in the equal diversity of men and women?
In the board level, you are saying? Actually, as of now, the Companies Act provides for only 1 woman director, irrespective of what the size of the board is. So ideally, the companies which are required to have a woman director has a minimum of 6 directors. So 1 out of 6 is a woman as of now. So which you can say it's about 16 or 17%. But I mean, this is the minimum. So this is the compulsory. But then there are boards where there are 8 members and one is a woman. So it's something between 10 and 17%, you can say. That is a statutory minimum. But what I mentioned is that ideally companies should induct more women even beyond what is statutorily required, because women not only add diversity, they add a unique way of thinking. So let's say if it's a beauty product company, or if it's a fashion garments company, or it's an interior decor company, something that where women have a better edge than men traditionally. So in those boards, at least there should be more women than men. So, and they can always add a different perspective, because they represent 50% of the population, which means 50% of the consumer base.
That's actually a point. Now, I would like to invite all the attendees to put forward your questions if you have got any. Yaricha, Renu, Achal, any questions out here? No questions? Okay. Miss Day, I had another query down here. Being a company secretary, you might have been into practice sometimes, right? So, have you noticed any, like, because practice is also kind of entrepreneurship or business in my perspective. Is there any differentiation in council elections, or like any kind of gender gap in council elections or in practice?
Gender gap in council election, did you say?
Yeah, council elections as well as in practice.
Okay, I'll say when it comes to practice, there is no gender gap. So no companies ever, ever look down upon a company secretary who is a woman because she is a woman. So it's only on capability. So there is no, differentiation when it comes to practice. And I will tell you, when it comes to membership of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, I think 60 or 65% is women. So it's women dominated institute. But yes, the last point, there is some kind of a barrier when it comes to council elections. For example, like I'm contesting the council of Central Council this time, I'm the only woman. So there are many men. So it's there is a huge diversity. It's in the mind of the people. So that is another area where this the glass ceiling has to be broken.
Even in terms of like practice, when you apply, so when clients approach you, do you feel that the confidence levels that clients place in male audit?
No. That is non-existent.
That's awesome. Actually, that was a major query about the auditing industry in a way. Thank you for an amazing speech. Actually, it was quite informative, especially having it from like company secretaries can help us introduce another aspect of the entire topic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to invite Ms. Lama Odi, a mediator from Lebanon, to commence her speech. Ms. Lama actually had some issues yesterday with the time, so she's here to give us. Yes, Lama, am I audible?
Hello. Oh. Greetings to all. I was talking about the entrepreneurship, especially in Middle East, and situation here. The population of the Middle East is about 436 million. Of which 49.6% are female, and 91.5% of these females in the region are literate, because of the rapid adoption and promotion of digital and technological innovation, and entrepreneurship has spread rapidly in the region. Women entrepreneurs in the region are on a par with their counterparts in Europe. Example, 33% of businesses women run by women in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, which means women lead more than 1 in 10 startups. with the pace of change accelerating in the region, more females will be encouraged to apply for investment rounds and accelerator programs. We have seen a number of investments in women-led startups such as Eventus, an online event management platform founded like a platform. It's founded by two women. The startup recently raised $2 million from Algebra Ventures and 500 startups, representing one of the largest investments Algebra Ventures has made in the Middle East to date. It is impressive, of course. Entrepreneurship can't be mentioned without talking about the Saudi woman, Lubna Alian, who is considered one of the most prominent businesswoman entrepreneurs in the Middle East and local in Saudi Arabia. The Businesswomen's Forum, like BWF, which was established in 2006 to empower Palestinian women entrepreneurs, contains a business development center, which called BDC, a program for the pre-incubations, a stage for entrepreneurial projects. The center supports businesswomen entrepreneurs in Ramallah and remotely from Gaza country for the purpose of developing their practical and commercial capabilities with the support of several institutions, including Spark. And then business model now, and the businesswoman entrepreneurs can apply to join the business center, and those who get accepted to receive business training to own their marketing concepts and the skills as for business that reach the stage of maturity. Networking services and provided to them in addition to legal services, and they are encouraged to participate in international trade events and exhibition. In Lebanon, the most important factor can we find is in the ability of the Lebanese entrepreneurs to market their products abroad and attract foreign clients. In this context, Lebanon ranked first in the world in terms of the internationality of its entrepreneurs. More than half of Lebanese entrepreneurs are classified as global, which is a very high percentage in which Lebanon excels. Let me talk also about an Egyptian example, the entrepreneur Azza Fahmi. Azza Fahmi, she's a professional Egyptian jewelry designer. She created a global brand for jewelry and handicrafts and chaired its board of directors, which was listed in 2007 on the Financial Times list of the most influential businesswoman entrepreneur in the Middle East. Her success story is the first woman allowed in the 16th to be trained in jewelry workshops in the Khan al-Khalili or Khan al-Khalili neighborhood by goldsmiths in a profession monopolized by men in the first place. Were working in front of the fire. She was not paid for that, but was paid £3 per month for industrialists to learn from them. After the expiry of her government working hours at the State Information Service, she established her company in 1969 started it with a small room in Helwan country, then a workshop in Pulak, and continued diligence until turning her small workshop into a factory on the outskirts of Cairo, and established its first exhibition in 1974. She reached international level. Some of her designs adorn the necks of international models and official figures, and she's also designed pieces of jewelry for important cinematic films, including Egyptian films like Al-Muhajir, Al-Masir, and Shafika and Mitwalli. Thank you. That's all. And thanks for having
Lama,
me here.
Yeah. Thank you, Lama, for your beautiful speech. I had a list of questions to ask you on this topic, especially. Women entrepreneurship is being impacted by terrorism in the Middle East to a huge extent. What's your perception on it?
Sorry?
Yeah, women entrepreneurship has been being impacted by global terrorism at a huge scale in the Middle East, especially considering Palestine and the surrounding countries like Afghanistan and others. What's your perception on it? Has it impacted the economic growth of the countries since it's impacting their perception on women, especially?
Yeah, they reached a lot of places, like in government also, with arms, Lebanese army also, females, Palestinian also. A lot of them are females, and they reach a lot of places and government places, like political. And they had the lead also, and make groups of political.
So, being a mediator, how much active participation of female mediators have you been seeing in Lebanon, especially?
In Lebanon, till now, there are few, because it's a new in Middle East, not like Europe, the mediation. Maybe the arbitration is most, but now I'm working on that to make it more and more for women. And a lot of mediators are women here. I noticed that. Because it's about the peace and the take of time to understanding,
Definitely. So, in India, we have multiple schemes that have been introduced to empower women entrepreneurs in terms of banking industry by providing them loans, in terms of judicial services industry by providing them with certain provisions and making amendments to the formal law. In the same way, has Lebanon also introduced something which would empower women entrepreneurs?
Entrepreneurs in Lebanon, you mean? Yeah, we have a lot, and they make a lot of factory here. And when the woman, her husband was dead, they forced to make an own business for to income her family and to continue with her children. That's all, because in the Middle East, we can't make we don't have the keep it in money for long time. When you work, you will gain and you will living. That's why they're thinking a lot and make a lot of entrepreneurs, especially nowadays in Lebanon, as the situation of economics. Yes.
Actually, it was a great interactive speech with you here, because I had multiple questions on the policies and you answered them quite well. Now, I would like to invite the attendees to put forward the questions if you have got any. Yeah, Amulya, Richa, Renu. Anyone? If you got questions, just unmute yourself and ask. No questions on women entrepreneurship anymore?
No, sir. Not right now.
Okay, that's it. I guess no one had any question, and your speech was crystal clear here, Lama. Actually, thanks for it, and thanks for making time to come to our conference. Thank you.
Thank you for each of you and for the organizer. Thank you a lot.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. I would like to thank Ms. Lama Orti from Lebanon for giving an amazing speech here and helping us gain an insight into Middle East too, and the perspective of our topic for the conference. Now, I would like to invite C. Rachna Jaggi, co-founder of RJTC LLP, to come and serve.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thanks, first of all, for inviting me at this global conference on women entrepreneurs, a topic which is very close to me. And thanks for bringing such a much needed attention to this topic, I'll say. And I'm also honored to be along with such a great lineup of speakers. So, of course, like you must have been hearing for the last 3 days, how important women entrepreneurship is and how much, contribution of theirs is so phenomenal, actually. I would, of course, would like to, talk about, how we can increase it. Of course, like we women are, contributing it, but how we can increase this participation. So as Rupanjana said, we are 50% of the population, and any country that doesn't harness the potential of half of its citizen, I think, will be at loss. Right. So in some countries, we have seen that they have contributed even more than 50% of the GDP. Right. In fact, it has been observed that most of the women entrepreneurs, they invest because their spending is different from the men, right? They spend more on the family requirements and all. So it goes back to the communities, in fact, such. So their contribution, you will see, will be more in the job creation, poverty alleviation, environmental vitality, wealth creation, and human capital and all. One such thing which I found peculiar with women entrepreneurship is that they inspire other women to start business. Whenever they are successful, they really reach out to other women and help them out to take a plunge. Here, I would really like to mention one example of Sarah Blakely. She is a billionaire entrepreneur in US. She is founder of Spanx, an American intimate apparel company with pants and legging in Atlanta. She started her business around 20 years back with $5,000, and now having gone through all the problems and winning over them as a woman entrepreneur, she founded Sarah Blakely Foundation to help women through education and entrepreneurial training. And in 2020, when this coronavirus, hit the world, she donated, or I say she helped around 1,000 women with $5,000 each, the amount with which she started her own entrepreneur journey, to support female-run small businesses during that period. So there are many such entrepreneurs, like in our own country, like we have Sudha Murthy, we have Kiran Majumdar, who have been helping or mentoring, women entrepreneurs. So this is something how they are helping other to stand up and take a plunge. Women, I think when she become, I believe, she create a livelihood of 10 more women. Let me just share with you one example. I came across this lady around 5 years back. That time her age was 89 years. And the age where most of people feel retired. She was widow, uneducated. Throughout her life, she had, only looked after her family responsibility. She was having only one daughter who was married. And after her husband died, when she was at the age of 89, at that time when I met her, she didn't want to depend upon her daughter for her financial needs. She was a great cook, skilled in making Indian sweets. She started, making this variety of sweets. And with her help, daughter's help, she started spreading the word on her social media. Today, she is 93 years old and running her sweet business with the help of many other women like her, whom she trained and enable them to stand on their own feet. Don't you think it's an inspiring story? I mean, at the age of 93, just imagine, she didn't want to depend upon anybody else for her financial needs. So that's something I found in all the women. I somewhere believe that women are the born entrepreneurs. They have some innate qualities in them which make them highly qualified to be successful entrepreneurs. Even if they don't formally don the hat of an entrepreneur, they unassumingly and very successfully, run the organization called family, right? And you'll all agree with me that she's actually the CEO, as Panjana also mentioned. I completely agree with her. She is a CEO of her house, excellent planner, and proper planning and good execution is so short for any venture to succeed, right? And she knows how to make the optimum use of limited resources. When you are having problem at home, financial problem and all, she knows how to make the best use of the resources available. And that's what business also requires, making optimum use of the resources that's available to you. And further, I'll say the patience and the persistence she has. You must have seen, your moms when any time of crisis, how she takes the lead and do everything possible to protect the family. And that's what is required for ventures. Ventures also see a lot of uncertainties. And there they need this kind of qualities, the persistence and patience, which help them sail through. Having said that they have, innate qualities as an entrepreneur, having right DNA, I think, is not enough to be successful entrepreneur, because women face a lot of challenges, which their male counterpart do not. For example, as Rupanjana also mentioned, lack of equal opportunity. I was just reading through one of the report of McKinsey, and they mentioned that India by 2025 could add around $770 billion to its GDP if it provides equal opportunity to women. And in the same report, they mentioned that advancing women's equality could add $12 trillion to the global economy by 2025. So that's a huge potential, right? So I think the government must focus on these policies to advance women's entrepreneurship. But in the corporate ladder, as we go up, like before starting my own venture, I was working with KPMG India. And this is what I have seen, that as you go up on the ladder, there are very few more women leaders you will see. I remember I'll just share with you one of my experience over there. I was just 1 month old in the company. I had just joined KPMG. And I attended one address by then CEO, who had also completed his first year of CEO as of the CEO of the KPMG. He was mentioning the achievements in the firm in the one last year. And one of the achievements which he mentioned, that they were able to increase the number of women partners in KPMG by 200%. I really felt happy. I really felt privileged that, I got associated with such a firm, which really believed in gender diversity. Later on, I found out that there was just one woman partner, and they had they increased the number by 200% by adding 2 more women partners against 300 male counterparts, right? So that it's not, I'll say, the case of KPMG, it's the story everywhere, right? With all the corporates. As you go up, you will find very few leaders over there. Jack Ma, who is chairman of Alibaba Group, once mentioned around in 2017 in one of the conference like this, he mentioned that women are the secret sauce behind the success of his company. I think that was the message, loud and clear, of women's contribution to the whole world. Out of 18 founders in Alibaba, 6 of them are women, accounting for, say, 1/3 of the total number of founders in Alibaba. That is what is required, and that's what is needed. Because organizations that embrace gender diversity are 15% more likely to succeed. So I believe the corporates government, NGOs, and various other philanthropist business must come together to provide an equal opportunity platform for the women to increase their participation. And then, of course, we have seen the potential by McKinsey report. It can do wonders. Second, which I feel is not having a financial knowledge or unawareness about various government schemes. So women also need to really work upon to be a successful entrepreneur. They must upskill themselves in the area they lack, be it understanding the financial numbers, business and market, understanding market demand, pricing of products, etc. We all must have seen Shark Tank, right? We all had seen Shark Tank. And we saw many entrepreneurs, who came, but they were not able to get the funding. Why? Because either they were not having proof of concept, either they would not understand the business numbers, or they were not having a concrete plan to convert their idea into a successful business. So mere skill, having just one skill or having one idea will not work. You have to really understand those things. I can give you one example. Being a chartered accountant, I was hired by one firm long back, and it was a startup company, 2 months old company, and they were into hotel business. And when I went there, whole I'll say group of women were working there, and they were very enthusiastic, and they were really working hard. So when I asked them, they said, "No, we are doing very good business. So many hotels are there on our list." I said, "Fine. How much is the recovery?" Because they were working on commission. I said, "How much recovery you have to do?" That we don't know. Is it, where are the data? You have been doing business for the last 2 months. Where is the data? They were not having the data with them. So they were from hotel business. They left their jobs. They started this venture. But then, still only because they were good at marketing, they were able to connect with many hotels and get a big business from them. But then they were not able to, handle those data, or, they were not even think of getting those data from the clients. So they were not aware how much commission they have earned. So, of course, I was there, one more person was there. We helped them out in constructing the data and all. And somehow, we settled up the business. But this is not how the business is being done. Even if you have a very good skill, you must have that financial knowledge, how much, you are earning, how much your profit you are making, how much cost you are incurring. That kind of knowledge we must have, right? And at the same time, I'll say there are many government schemes, as Shravan also mentioned, like Startup India, Skill India, then Udyam Shakti portal for women entrepreneurs. Then we have Women Entrepreneurship Platform by Niti Aayog. But my point is, how many are aware of it? How many understand or, have taken the benefit out of it, right? And there was this one survey which was done, and it was found that only 1% of all the women who were surveyed, they were able to get the leverage of government schemes. So the government, NGOs, again, business platform, I think they must run this awareness program so that women, not only in rural India, but also in urban India, not even in urban India, women are aware of it, can take the benefit which are available to them. So that is another thing I think which is important. Now today, of course, women are taking a plunge. They are living to their aspirations and bringing the gender gap.
Yeah. Like we are running on a bit of false state. If you could just wrap it up.
Sorry?
If you could just wrap it up.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So just last, point I wanted to make, the families, the families must come out to support, because there is a lot of potential in the women, but, because of this family responsibility, they are not able to come out of it, and they are not able to, harness their own potential. So very important that I'll say male counterpart, they must share that. Of course, now it's happening. Many professionals are working together, and they are sharing all kinds of responsibility. But I think there is another scope of it. And last but not the least, I think the funding part. So, of course, I believe that some kind of incentives, the business, be it private or public, they must come out with some kind of incentives for individuals and organizations to invest in women-centered companies, so that our women can also think of new kind of investment like crowdfunding and all. So, with all these points, again, as I mentioned, that women are untapped reservoirs. I think we must make each and every effort to tap this potential. Thanks for listening me, and thanks for being patient.
I would like to thank Rashna Jagri for informative speech, especially the case studies you use of aged women coming up of starting something new of their own and again supporting livelihoods and providing employment. Actually, that's the main motto of entrepreneurship: help the society grow and make an impact. That was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Just I have one question here. As a chartered accountant in the Big Four, how much active participation of women have you seen in the auditing and consulting industry? Is it more in compared to men? Because CA is definitely a very difficult post, and as you all know, women are more intellectual than men, being a common process.
I completely agree. See, so far as the participation at lower level is concerned, in the corporate, I'm telling you, in the Big Four, so far as till the manager point of view, then there is a good participation. But as I mentioned, as you cross this manager level, associate directors, there of course you will see very few people over there. That's gap is there. Particularly, I've seen in Big Fours.
Okay, so it's like at lower levels, women are actively there, but as we go higher in the hierarchy, degrees.
Right. So as I mentioned, they were feeling so good that they were able to add 2 or more, women partners. There were 300 male partners over there, just 2 more women partners, and they were happy. We have done our best. Yeah, that kind of scenario is there. Be it EY, because I worked with, earlier I was working with Pricewaterhouse, and later on I joined KPMG. Some of my friends are there in EY. So in all the Big Four, the same situation is there. As you go higher, there is a gap.
That's fine. Now I would like to invite all the attendees to put forward your questions, if any.
So, ma'am, I would like to say something. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Hi, Reddy.
Ma'am, actually, I don't want to, go into urban field. I want to say that, you are telling about the situation, the dire, conditions of the urban areas. And I am thinking that if urban areas are facing these kind of challenges, think of the rural or background communities,
Absolutely.
because I belong to a village area, and there I have realized that in every home, each of the women knows some of the skill they can tap upon, and they can run into a successful venture. But they are not getting any awareness about it. They are not getting any help. They are not getting any government consultation,
Right.
because there are not any centers for them. Entrepreneurship centers should be there, right?
Right.
So that they can also rise, they can be self independent and have self confidence.
Right.
Because in urban areas, women are stepping up, and women are taking on challenges head front. They can't defeated in any kind of debate, I can assure. But it is only possible when a full-fledged education is being provided to them, full-fledged parenting, and full freedom, full autonomy of education. But I am thinking of the backward community, where every household has a key resource, but they can't tap. This is the main. Yeah.
So I completely agree with you, and I must tell you, in fact, what I found, because I was into audit, and I used to go to all these distant places and all. I found in rural areas, women are having that more courage to take the plunge. You
Yeah.
can say because of maybe the family requirement to meet their financial needs, but I found rural women to be more courageous. They just need some kind of support, some kind of direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of there. But I think nowadays I'm seeing on social media, lot many YouTube channels from village, they are running and they are really doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be it cooking some food or something, like they are doing it. So yeah, women are coming out, in fact. So thanks to this internet and social media, so they are coming out. But I completely agree with you that there has to be. Work is being done. People are trying to reach out to rural women also, but yeah, still a lot need to be done.
Yeah. Thanks to the COVID, the digital code has, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Thank you so
actually
much.
the digital revolution has brought, like urban and rural areas very together.
And
We can
generally,
share knowledge and become a lot.
I've seen, whenever the calamity attack, financial problem attack, the family.
Crisis manager would be.
People get aware. Okay, woman is there. If you have just time, just 1 minute, I'll just share with you one of my clients' experience. I knew her, for long years, and she was a textile designer, but she from a very resourceful family, and she wanted to get into a textile business. But due to social pressure and all, she got married. And when she got married, she got into a similar kind of resourceful family. And now her husband and her in-laws wanted her to take care of the family instead of, pursuing any dream. So she had to give up her dream of, business and all. And of course, over the period, the career take the back burner, and she got involved with the family responsibilities. Now, a few years back, in fact, this financial crisis struck the business of the family, and then the husband realized, oh, my wife is a textile
Could
designer.
do well,
She could do something. And after a lot of motivation, in fact, we were in touch, and I told her to send her design. There was this exhibition all by chance going on in Italy. And I told her, why don't you send your design over there? And she somehow gathered the courage, because after 20 years, she was, started working. She sent her design, and guess what? Her designs were selected by one of the designer company in Italy. And today she is bringing the foreign remittance to India. It's not only she's helping her family, but also country. So it's not that when financial calamity is stuck, it's, right from the beginning, I think this kind of awareness should be there in the male counterpart also, that they must come forward and support and take equal, I'll say, responsibilities, be it kitchen or be it, taking care of kids.
Yeah. I would like to thank Ms. Rachna for an amazing speech. Actually, the case studies, the way you elaborated them, would help the audience a lot in the upcoming future too. Yeah. Am I audible, Digvijay?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I guess I had some. For an amazing speech. Actually, your case studies are very clear and precise. They help us get a brief understanding of the thing, and also in different perspectives from the way you elaborated. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Ms. Janvi Sharma, advocate at the Supreme Court of India, to come in this speech.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for calling me for this event, and congratulations to you on a successful 3-day conference. So when we talk of the evolving role of women entrepreneurs in the global economy and the impact, we have to keep in mind that before we go global, we have to go local. We have to be, rooted in our grassroots. And if we do go local and we do, expand in a big way, it will definitely and automatically impact the global economy. So the way forward, to my mind, for impacting a global economy for Indian entrepreneurs and for women entrepreneurs is to focus on our grassroots. Like what Renu said, I'm very, a lot of the stuff that I want to talk about was regarding this. And it is a very big issue in our country. And we do need to focus on it because, in my opinion, if we focus on the grassroots and we focus on bringing them up, then our country as a whole will grow. And if our country as a whole grows, then definitely our contribution to the global economy will grow. So, I feel urban areas, cities, cosmopolitan cities, they've all reached their saturation to such an extent that we have, foreign investment coming in utilizing those resources, which is also important for the Indian economy. But to my mind, it is a short-term progress in the sense that it might help the economy now, but we cannot be dependent on foreign funding for the rest of our lives, for 100 years down the line or 200 years down the line. And in order for us to become self-sufficient in that aspect, we must go to our grassroots and make sure that our grassroots are the ones that are growing, expanding, and reaching the global markets. Okay, like so I am an intellectual property expert. I am a lawyer. So these designers, all the big designers abroad, you will find someone selling a Kolhapuri chappal, or you will find someone selling Phulkari work, which is from Punjab, right? Traditional Punjab or traditional UP or traditional Assam, right? So they will sell all of this and they will make a lot of money. But none of that money is actually going to the grassroots level where this work originated, where the local karigars live, and which is their sustenance. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is one of the issues to deal with. Now, what I feel in that aspect is that, and this is gender neutral, that a lot of people in our among our masses, they're talented, they have a gift, they're hardworking, okay, but they do not have the technical knowledge to safeguard their interests, to safeguard their property. Now, when I say property, what do I mean? So like Phulkari work, Kolhapuri chappal, this is all our intellectual property. We can protect it, we can register it, we can earn money on it. But this knowledge is not there. Nobody understands it. They barely understand physical property. कि 2 बीघा जमीन क्या होता है, यही समझ नहीं आता कि कैसे demarcate करे उसको, कैसे register करे. वहीं पे, it's a problem. So when you have to talk of intellectual property, it's even more complicated. And I feel that we need to simplify that. We need to go door to door and explain that, so that and we need to make it easier for them to register it. You see, if today a village lady comes to me and she tells me that I make these designs, okay, I make these clothes, and I want to register it, I want to register my trademark, the whole process will be so confusing. She will not understand. She'll say, chodo, let it be, forget it, I'm happy. So that is one very big problem, which I feel, even in urban areas, when I have clients, many of them do not understand how they can protect something which is not there. Like a design is not a physical property. You can't see it. So they're like, how can we protect that? It's not true. It can't be. They'll just be like, ho hi nahi sakta hai. Forget it. So that is one place where I feel we need to focus, because when small businesses, especially women-run businesses, start, it's very easy for a big business to use them, manipulate them, take their product, not give them the proceeds that they are due, that they should be earning, and make millions of them. I feel that is the biggest worry in the marketplace, is global or local, for women entrepreneurs today. That is my worry for them. I feel that they do not know all the technical details which can safeguard their rights, safeguard their property, safeguard their earnings. And because they don't know it, it's easy for someone to sort of get them stuck in a wrong situation where they can't claim later on. Now that is one. The second issue that I feel is very important for us to understand as a community, as a country, and as people is that, India has very good laws. I always believe we have very good laws when it comes to women securing their rights, safety, all women can vote. There are laws against crimes against women. There is the Sexual Harassment Act, Domestic Violence Act, POCSO. You have a lot of laws. If you want to get relief, you can. Okay. The problem is that there is no execution. Now, when I say execution, what do I mean? Execution in the sense that the women themselves, A, are not aware. B, if they are aware, they are brought up in such a way that they feel that no, we should not do this. We are going to be very aggressive. We can't do this to our family, or we can't do this to another person. We'll sacrifice. So this sacrifice nature, which is inbuilt in women right from little girls, that, this is what you have to be. This is what an ideal woman is. An ideal woman is someone who lets go of a career, lets go of everything, and just stays in the house, takes care of her husband and her children and her parents. See, you have to understand, I support housewives and homemakers, and I want them to be given more importance than they are. Okay, that is one. But the other thing is, you have to understand that as women, it is possible for us to have both things. It is possible for us to be the wife, the mother, taking care of our family and taking care of ourselves and making something of ourselves. So when you're socialized as a on what you should be, it should not just be that of a woman who sacrifices herself for others, but also someone who prioritizes herself along with others. It should not be one or the other. That is what I feel, and that is the biggest problem in terms of socialization in India, which I feel every day. And I think it cuts across the spectrum, like from the urban areas to the rural areas. Women everywhere have these thoughts. They will all think twice before, doing something for themselves. And if they have something good also, they'll be like, nahi, hame samajh nahi aa raha, nahi, let's not get into this. Everything is fine. Chalne do jaise chal raha hai. Like that kind of thought process. So so the first issue is that they need to understand the technical aspects, how they can safeguard themselves. Second issue is that the socialization needs to change. The way a woman entrepreneur or a boss lady, as they say, the way a boss lady is viewed, seen by everyone and thought of, it needs to change. See, if a man spends 12 hours at work, they'll be like, oh, what a hardworking husband. But if a woman spends 12 hours, they'll be like, oh, she's neglecting her children. How is she even taking care? How can she do all of this? So there is a way in which society also impacts and puts pressure on the mind of a lady, because of which she probably does not take the steps which are necessary for her startup, for her entrepreneurial journey. She may not take those steps, which is why she may not reach the success that she can if she just had that kind of backing, that kind of support system, that kind of socialization. So it's all psychological as well as technical. So you have to understand, like, I do not know much about the business aspect of things, but I feel that even for business education, it needs to be made simpler and available at the grassroots level, door to door. We can do webinars all day and we can do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, what will truly help, in my opinion, is going door to door, explaining, sitting, trying to change the mindset. Because as long as the mindset does not change, the women will not take the leap of faith. They will not, push themselves and make themselves become successful entrepreneurs to the level that they can. Okay, now that is one. Now, the second thing is, you spoke about evolving in global economy. So now this is how it has been and how it is right now. But despite all of this, I feel that we have made progress as a country. It's not that, we have made no progress or that we're going back in time. We are making progress. The thing that contributes, now this is to my mind, I feel that the thing that will contribute maximum to global economy in the coming future is intellectual property. In terms of, let's say, suppose you've seen in the pandemic, a lot of homemakers, they started their own food business, or they would make some small things and sell them, right? So all of this is their intellectual property. So if they continue to sell all of this, they'll start a brand, they'll call it something. it'll become more and more refined. The packaging will become better. It'll look prettier. Cost will go up. More people will buy it. More money will come in. As a result, if there are, let's say, for example, 2,000 women who are doing these home projects, right? Out of them, at least 200 minimum number will make it to a business stage where they'll have employees and they'll be running it as a business. Out of those 200, if they have the technical knowledge, resources and support, 20 will make it big, at least minimum. Now if 20 make it big, the chances are that 10 will make it to the global level, which means that as a country we will evolve not just in Indian economy but also in the global economy. So the way forward, as per me, and in the evolution of global economy and Indian economy, is intellectual property, making it, solidifying it, and investing in it. Because if you have a good product, you can get investors. So basically focusing on your own skill, focusing on your talent, focusing on the product, having faith in your product, and taking the risk whenever necessary, because that is always a place where women hesitate, as per me. Okay, thank you. That's it from me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I hope
Ma'am,
I've
ma'am, please share your LinkedIn ID. I would really like to connect with you.
definitely.
I would like to thank you, Janvi, for the informative speech. Again, your speech was from a completely different aspect of a IP laws professional. Actually, it's very important to conserve and preserve a brand, especially in case of women, because they can be exploited very easily with their emotional traits of sacrifice and stuff. Whatever you said, it's actually precise down here. I just said 2-3 questions in terms of IP and entrepreneurship, combining them together.
Yeah.
It's like there are multiple food items which are originating from some other countries and being sold in India. In the same way, there are multiple Indian food items which are originating from our country and being sold out in different countries by their restaurant brands and their chains again expand their entire business, and then something might happen that a dosha item which could be sold in US, that certain restaurant has got a chain which is expanding into India. So in those cases, can it be protected by IP laws?
Definitely. So when it comes to chain restaurants and chain hotels and all kinds of chains, even designers, celebrity brands, all of that, you have something called a franchisee agreement. So that franchisee agreement, what happens is, supposing today I am a designer, I have made this kurta. Okay. Now I can only sell in one little shop in Delhi. I do not have the resources to sell in 3 shops. Now another person comes to me and he says that he'll take the shop on rent. He will put in all the money. He just wants my name. Okay, so I will sign a franchisee agreement with him. He will open my second store. It'll be called my store, whatever name I give it, but it'll have a silent investor who's also getting money out of it. And I am just getting a license. I'm giving a license and I'm getting the money from my name. I'm selling my name. So it is intellectual property. You're basically selling your brand, you're selling your name, and you're earning money from it. So that's what happens with hotels and restaurants. They do franchisee agreements. They're owned by different. So the restaurant will probably be owned by someone else, but the name will be someone else's. So he will take the name on rent, on license, from like it's Sagar Ratna, right? So Sagar Ratna, the original founder, has the name, has the rights of the name. It could be some other person who opens a Sagar Ratna, takes the license of using Sagar Ratna, pays him X amount of money, saying that I'm using your name and this is the amount of money I'm giving you for using your name. So all the profits of that restaurant will go to the second person and he will give a license fee to the first person, the original name holder.
That's actually interesting, the franchise part.
Yeah, so I think franchises will also impact global economy. We should actually focus on that.
Yeah. We just look through it once.
I'm trying to locate it. I've actually thought about this more than I should. Okay, so I feel that it'll have to be see the original way of doing it is sending representatives who will go door to door and talk to people. That's one way, okay. But in the pandemic, I feel that if a person is going door to door and he's your representative, some stuff may get lost in translation, okay, because there's a communication chain, and then things sort of tend to get miscommunicated. Now this will take a lot of investment, but I believe, this is my innocent idea, that we should set up screens in different villages across, go state wise, it's fine, just set up screens, and like we have a webinar here, we can have someone talk through the screens. Although I don't know how the people will receive it, because it'll be like foreign for them, but I think if it's a combination of the two, it might help.
I would like to, share something, ma'am. Um, can't it be happen that since you are at, a government position,
Excuse
so
me, Renu.
I
Actually,
am
we
not.
have got a time constraint here. So if you could just put forward your question.
okay,
Instead of-
okay. Uh, I don't have really a question, but I just wanted to share, connection so that the grassroots level can be, connected. So that there are government, there are village pradhans and all,
Yes.
so they can be communicated,
Yes.
so that
Yes.
information can be shared.
Janvi, if you could just share your mail ID in the chat box, it would help. all the
Okay, I will just write it here.
Any questions out here? Brian, Richa? Any of the fellow speakers? That's it. Okay. Janvi, a last question out here.
Yes.
Women have always been hesitant to come out in the field of business due to legal constraints too.
Yes.
Legal advisors should provide pro bono consulting services to certain sectors for community impact. Do you think so?
I mean, sure. I think every lawyer has their quota of pro bono work that they do, and there are plenty of legal aid, panels and institutions. We have legal aid panel in Delhi High Court. We have legal aid in all the district courts, and they assign you a lawyer if you go, which is free of cost, and you have to go there and you have to sit there, and they'll assign you a lawyer, and you have to talk to them, and they will give you the necessary advice.
That's actually a great provision for women entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, your speech was quite informative and from a completely different perspective, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Mr. Avdesh Jha, founder and executive director of EdMax Technology Private Limited. Yeah. Mr. Jha was down here in the meeting. I guess he has network issues, Digvijay. Just check with him once. Yeah, just check once. Until then, I would request the attendees to participate actively in the call, and I request Vaishali Shri and team to share the link for the certificates of the conference for all the attendees. Yeah, Renu, you had some points you would like to put that forward, since Mr. Jha will take 2 minutes to come, I guess.
No, sir. Actually, it was for ma'am. She was saying that sharing screens at the larger places, and it would take, but it would take a lot more, cost, and the costing factors should be taken care of. I was, emphasizing about connecting with the district heads and the block heads, so that the information can be shared and they can be connected with the grassroots level. So I was saying of the this opinion. So that
That's
force can
actually
be
a
there.
government hierarchy already in place from centuries, but that doesn't work that efficiently, right?
But yeah, I know. But there are common service centers which have been opened by the government. So the common service center should be, taken. Should be at the forefront for sharing the information, and they are located in these areas. So I was, contemplating on that information. So no worries, never
That's true.
mind.
I guess there's a heavy rain issue down here. Uh, Vaishali, just check the link once for the certificate. Miss Akkala as well as Mr. Jha are facing the same problem if they hail from Hyderabad, I guess. Fine. If anyone has got any queries, you can put your queries down. Speakers on the panel would be appreciating like answering your queries out here. Further, all the attendees may fill the form, and then I would like to commence this meeting with a note of thanks for all the speakers on the panel who actively participated. I also apologize on behalf of the speakers who were absent for today. There has been going, like a bit of rainy weather down here in Telangana, so we have this regular network issue. Sorry for that. And further, I would like to end this conference with a note of thanks. Yeah, I guess Mr. Jha has joined us. Yeah, Mr. Jha, am I audible? Am I audible, Mr. Jha? Am I audible clearly, Digvijay? I would like to invite Mr. Avdesh Jha to commence his speech.
Hello, am I audible? Yeah. Thank you, Sravan, and thank you for organizing such fruitful conferences that will directly benefit to the upcoming entrepreneurs. And I'm Abdesha, belong from Patna, Bihar, and I think it is a great prospect to create entrepreneurship to add economy either in a nation or the global overview. So, first of all, I would like to talk about the entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship used to say that it is born with the man, not woman. But the half of the population, we have a woman and courageous women who can take any challenges to forward their family, their country, and even their society. So the concept is changing day by day. Even the management institutions trying to put an entrepreneurial skill on their students to go to the entrepreneurship to create their own venture and to have a startup or to have their skill to add value society in a different way. And even government has planned and planning to have an incubation center for the startup and they are adding on the much more efforts to create entrepreneurship in surroundings. But still we are lacking behind entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not concept that can be put other to the others. It is his or her own creations that come from the within and that come from the environment which they are living. If we talk about the entrepreneurship for the women, you can see the half of the population, that is the women, and 70% of the population that is resides in village. And the heart, that means the village heart is the great example of women entrepreneurship, where you can see the 70% of the sailors belong to the women backgrounds. They are means the women, and they are selling their products in village heart. Besides that, the small businesses which I have seen in many places, that is for and by the women only in many areas. Even the small scale industry I have seen the support of the entrepreneurs lagging behind the women. It is the women that strengthen and power the men to start their own creations, on ventures, and on their setups. So at the top level and at the bottom level, you can see the visible entrepreneurship of women in our country, and America, in the United States of America, at the top in all over the world, because they got the much more freedom, visibility. They have got their clear concept. They have surroundings support. They have government supports. They have environmental supports to create their ventures at the school level, at the college level, or after the college. They are getting support from the experienced people. They are getting support from the government side. So they have started their own venture, and within a short period of time, they have expanded their business at the global level. We have such skills, but we have many deficiencies in that system, because at the level of registration to marketization of that product and services, we have many problems. As a management consultant and the entrepreneur, I have seen the practical approach of the entrepreneurship which have faced by the men and women. Men, it is a men-dominating culture, they can face, but the women, which when they facing several problems, they just lag their leg behind the entrepreneurship, because they thought that this is not for us. But the women who has courage to go beyond that concept, they have a stand with their startup. So it is a matter of courageous, but that percentage should be increased, and that percentage can be increased if the system is feasible, if the system is comfortable for them. So if you think that at the level where we wants that our society should adopt more entrepreneurship, our own entrepreneurship, we should have to put men's center which directly help to the women to start their startup. I have seen in many village area where I have you have may heard Mithila painting and Patna painting, means Mithila painting, that is belong to the Mithila region of Bihar. That is the purely creations of women, and the many women got even much more higher price in country, and they have got their places in all over the world, and their recognition can be seen. And that is the purely contribution of women. They first started their painting, and that painting become the entrepreneurship, and that entrepreneurship got places first in a country level, and after that got place in the global level too. Even the sitting in America, Europe, and several countries, they demand the Mithila painting from the Bihar because they know that the Mithila painting is really a beautiful, unique, and full of culture. So they demand. And in a recent scenario, you may have heard the SARC entrepreneurship program where the Mithilanchal to lady, that the Haji Achar and Papad, that kinds of a startup they have started, and they got their place in the country level. So the women who has courage to start their startup, they have got place. But the most of the women, they are not getting place. They are not getting proper information. They are not getting clear idea. So they are like. But you may see in organized way and in organized sector, many women are as a entrepreneurial, but not in organized way. If when you see the vegetable Mandi, where you can see the many women are women entrepreneurs, they are veggie entrepreneurs. They are putting their vegetable on sale and they are selling, they are earning much more money. So even if you go, that means different sector, cosmetic center, you can see the women are in that field and they are selling, but the proper channel and the proper way in organized way, it can be enhanced and it can go beyond the expectation, because still we are not having entrepreneurs in a such a state where we are belonging. That means the women combined entrepreneurship and job, they are 8 to 10%. Means the entrepreneurs is less than 1 and 2%. If it can be increased by 5%, 10%, even 20%, that can be seen. But gradually, if we provide such a system where she can have a comfortable with their from registration to the marketization of their products, they can have a more courage to that fields. I am also connected with the yoga field, and I have seen that many lady who has got training from the yoga institutions. After getting training, they had opened their center, and that can be called that yoga panure. That center is trained and training many much people for their new ventures or their health issues or their different issues. So the skilled woman is also converting their skill either in job or their entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship can be by passion, or entrepreneurship can be by foundation or compulsion too, because the so many women, they have no any alternative options. They are choosing entrepreneurship as a compulsion because they know that only this can generate a money which can be fulfill the desire of the family, which can fulfill the need of the family. But by passion, if the woman who's really means learned, he has skill, she has skilled, and she can turn their skill into entrepreneurship. They are by passion, they are coming in this field, and they are increasing their economy and by putting their entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial skill in that business. So the number is less. Yeah. Yeah. So, and in this way, we can say that means many changes can bring in our society through women entrepreneurship. And in a consecutive 3 days, I have seen the many much more data. Much speaker, they have put their thoughts on the entrepreneurships. So adopting these all things and putting their hard efforts can increase the entrepreneurship even our country, and definitely that will add value to our country, and that can shine even in the global world. So I means that in that words I am putting my thoughts wind up. If you have any questions, you may ask. Hello. Hello, Shravan. I got, I actually, yeah, you may ask questions. I have wind up my speech. Yeah, I'm just sharing. I've given my mail ID. If you have any question, you may ask. I think most of the audience are courageous to do the entrepreneurship in their respective area. So I think really that would be a big great efforts that if you put their efforts uh, to turn up their skill in entrepreneurship, that would. But for one things, I would like to suggest that do your own thoughts in on creation for the entrepreneurship, not for the much more suggested by or the watching video through YouTube, and that is not going to much more benefit for you, because the entrepreneurship should be that you must be master of that little or that vast things. If you are a master in that field, you can go, you can take it to forward towards your goal. But if you are putting other thoughts on your entrepreneurial skills, that is not much more going beyond your expectation, because everyone has their skills. Everyone is means capable in some field, so their capability can be converted in their entrepreneurship skill. So we all have entrepreneurship skill. We all should take attempt to means do some kinds of own creations in a safe way, in a risk-free way. Because in a risk way you can free way when you can do, not in a worst way. If you are in want in a safe zone, you can put in a small way too. So if you have any query, you may ask. You may ask later to. Yeah.
Yeah, apologies. Actually, there's a bit of network issues down here. I would like to thank Mr. Jha for his amazing speech. Actually,
Thank you. Thank you.
having
Yeah.
an overall perspective of the topic from a person from your state could also be useful, because in terms of multiple researches that come out that Bihar is one of the most backward states of India. So, what would be like? I have one or two questions here. What's your perspective? Okay, no issues then. Mm, I guess we can wrap up the session. Thank you all the attendees for
Yeah.
being here and all the speakers for making this amazing conference. We'll be returning back again on next month from August 15 to 17 on emerging entrepreneurial trends in arbitration, mediation, and media. Until then, stay tuned, have fun, and yeah, fill up the certificate forms for yourself.